This is an Outdoors-Delmarva online exclusive.
I am here with Hank Draper. He is the captain of the Prime Hook, and you guys are in the small boat division for the White Marlin Open. How did you get into that?
Actually, it's really a great part about the tournament because it's such a competitive tournament with the best fishermen in the world on the best boats, biggest, most money programs you could have. And for a small boat guy, you really feel like you don't have a chance. But with the small boat category, it's a tournament within a tournament. So, you know, the big money's not available there, but there's plenty of money to win. And obviously, you know, if you can win anything, it feels good. So we're trying to win what we can in the small boat division and obviously win the whole tournament. You know, if we catch a big white marlin or blue marlin on our last day, that qualifies. I don't think there's a qualifying fish yet. So, you know, we have just as good a chance as anybody, but the small boat division is kind of where we live, so we like it.
And you guys have been in the White Marlin Open before also.
Yes.
This isn't your first year.
No, it's not. I've been in the White Marlin Open shoot, I would say 6 or 7 years, as long as I've had this boat, which it was 2016 when we hit the scene with this boat, and we've been in it every year since. But it's a very difficult tournament to win money in. A lot of luck involved, but there's a lot of skill you're competing against. And so we've done our best. We've always caught fish. We've always had a good time, but you know, the big cardboard check has eluded us up to this point. So maybe this is our year, and we still have a chance tomorrow. So. And
we saw your name up on the leaderboard Monday. Tell us about that.
Yeah, in the small boat division, there's a daily release, and then there's the weekly release category. So we caught 3 white marlins, 210 points, 70 points per marlin. And that put us in the lead for the daily release for small boat. And then the weekly release, since it was day one, we were in the lead for that at 210. Yesterday we caught 3 white marlins again for another 210 points, which put us at 420 total, which keeps us in the lead for the weekly daily release. However, we got bumped out of the lead for the daily yesterday by a guy called a blue and a white. Okay. So his 245, I believe, beat our 210. So we were a little upset about that, but we did what we did. So
yeah, and you get to go out again tomorrow and try to fish again.
Absolutely.
Now, what qualifies for the small boat division category?
In this tournament, it's 40 feet and under, and my boat's 37 feet. So obviously, we're in that category, and it's good. I mean, if anytime the small boat cutoff is close to your boat size, you know, you have a better chance. I feel like. I mean, in the next tournament we fish, it's 50 feet and under. So all of a sudden, you get a lot more bigger, more financially backed programs, I'd say, in the small boat division, and it's just harder, but more money.
Yeah.
You know, so. You know.
Now, you were telling me that you're fishing with a lot of friends, and that's also it's fun. You are doing it for money, but it is fun. You have some friends with you. Talk about some of the people on your boat.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing this for fun, you're wasting your time. I mean, you're not going to pay off your mortgage and solve your life problems by winning the White Marlin. If that's your game plan, you're out to lunch. But like to fish with good friends of mine that I grew up with, we're all like-minded guys. We all love fishing. We love being out there, and it's, you know, the best part about it for me. I got lifelong friends. I got Frank Green, Jason Burris, Matt DeSabatino, all great guys, all good fishermen. We're really working hard on every angle, whether it's, you know, bringing food, bringing things to the program that don't necessarily have to be about rigging baits either. But and then I got 2 mates. I got my friend Kennedy Hernandez from Guatemala is in town. He comes every year for August, and then I have Dylan Baker, who's a local kid, 17 years old, from Milton, actually from Lewis, and he's learning a lot and having a great time. We really enjoy having him on the boat. So it's a good crew, it's a good group, and we're having fun. I mean, we're catching fish every day, and unfortunately they're not big enough, but that's the problem for everybody. Everybody's having that same issue. So.
Yeah, we saw you flying some flags here, some white marlin flags.
Yeah.
But they're upside down, and that means you caught and released them.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the boats that we've seen coming into the scales, they are all flipped upside down. There has not been a marlin yet come to the scales. I know they have to be 70 pounds 70 inches. So are they're not making that cut?
Yeah, I mean, it's strange. I mean, everything in fishing cyclical. Different years are different. Last year, I couldn't find a marlin. This year, at least we're catching marlins. However, they're small. Like we've measured, I think 3 and 64 was the longest marlin that we've caught. And I mean, even with a white marlin, even if it's 70, 71 inches, it still has to meet the 70-pound minimum. So you're not in the clear. Whereas a blue marlin, I believe it's 114-inch minimum, and you're in. Once you meet that minimum, no matter what it weighs, you're on the board. So we're looking for that, and 114-inch blue marlin is a big blue marlin, so it's not easy. But I don't know. It's just there's a lot of small fish. A lot of round scale spearfish, which are considered white marlins, but so I don't know. I mean, everybody's trying to crack the code here and find where the big ones are, you know, and if it were that easy, you'd see a lot more of them at the scales. So it's just, you know, it's just how it is this year. Hopefully tomorrow we're the only ones that catch one, and you know, life goes on. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, if you love marlin fishing, it's you know, you're teamed up, you're geared up, you're focused, and you're going at this thing with all you got. And at the end of the day, you're out there on the rip marlin fishing, and so you get a couple bites coming the spread, and you're just there. He is, and the action of marlin fishing is, you know, it'll ruin your life if you've never been before, and you go and you catch a big blue marlin on your first trip. You probably just messed up because you're going to spend all your money and all your time trying to get back out there and do it again. It's just an amazing creature. It's an amazing sport. It happens in an amazing environment. To think, you know, you're in the mid-Atlantic here, Delaware, Maryland, and a 3-hour boat ride, you just don't feel like you're here anymore. You're out there in the blue water. You got life, birds, whales, marlins, tuna, and it's just a break from reality. Cell phones don't work, and so it's an adventure every day. So it's fun.
What's it like the week? I know you take a lot of people fishing on your boat, not just White Marlin Open week,
right?
But when you have, like you were talking about, the one kid is like, he's young, he's learning. What's that like to be able to kind of pass your skill off to the youth?
It's great. We've all been there, that, you know, guys that fish. I mean, we've all started somewhere, whether it was our dad or uncle or just a friend took us, and you know, you get kind of bit by the bug, and you want to pursue it, and you can make a really good career, a life career of fishing around the world. And I mean, it kind of matriculates up to this level of, you know, you could be on an 80-foot boat with the owner flying you around in private jets and living this lifestyle, and you're just a mate, you know what I mean? Kind of like, how did it get to that level? But so, you know, you got to learn, and you see the guys that are really good, and they get that way through years of experience. So you got to start, you got to get in, you got to get your hands dirty, and you got to learn and be willing to work. So it's always good to see somebody who's young and maybe doesn't have their phone in their hand at all times, and they're wanting to just get in and learn. And there's a million ways to do everything, and there's 100 different guys that will show you a different way, but whatever works, and you know, you get good at something, it is a good thing. And you know, I got a guy, he's 17 now, and he's just starting out. He loves it, and that's the good thing about it. And then I have my mate from Guatemala, Kennedy, who he actually is a captain in Guatemala, and he's probably nearing 40,000 billfish for his career, which there's not many people on earth that have got that. So the experience that he has, you know, rigging mackerels, tying biminis, I mean, you name it, it's just he can do it in his sleep. And then the 17-year-old, he just wants to soak it up like a sponge. So it's really cool to see the interaction of, you know, the master and the apprentice, if you will. And I'm somewhere in the middle there with my skills. I'm driving the boat now, but it's good, you know. You got a young guy who doesn't have the attitude that he knows it all, and just kind of wants to learn. It's really fun to watch.
And Hank, you've got kids of your own. Do you take them out fishing a lot?
Yeah, I take them out. I don't take them out a lot, just because the extremity, like it's an extreme day. You get up at 2 in the morning, and then you gotta drive 3 hours, and you know, the whole seasick thing, and you know, they love it. I just like to pick my days. And then with charter fishing, you know, my schedule is can be booked up, and but they get out there quite a few times in the summertime, and they like the boat. But it's become more work than family fun boat. But it's, my daughter Harlow, she's 10. She's been out a couple times. She's caught mahi, and then when we were in Costa Rica, she caught a big sailfish. She really wants to catch a white marlin.
So she got that bug that you're talking about.
My son's caught white marlins. He's caught tunas, and he's,
very cool.
To catch another one. Yeah, he's happy to do that. But my daughter really wants one, and so that's on my list for the summer, is to get her white marlin. And we haven't been out yet, but hopefully in between these tournaments we can sneak out and on a nice weather day.
Yes, and you were talking about some charter fishing, so that's what this boat is doing, and it's when it's not at the White Marlin Open.
Yeah, yep. I tend to want to specialize in marlin fishing charters, and that's a very niche market. The typical charter client is not looking to marlin fish. They're looking to go get, as many tunas as they can, and I'm not really known for my tuna fishing abilities. I mean, there's plenty of captains that are just complete animals when it comes to getting tunas, and they're very good, and they're very busy. They fish every day, and it's just a different thing. So I do kind of, tend to want to spend my time marlin fishing this time of year. Now in June and May and early July, I do tuna trips, and we catch some tunas, but it's whether it's slow or not, I mean, you just kind of at the mercy of the day.
All right. Yeah. And so is there any little tips and tricks for marlin fishing?
Yeah, I mean, there's hundreds. Marlin fishing it's just such a skill game, and everything has to be on point. I mean, like all your tackle, and then your bait obviously has to be fresh and well presented, and I mean, your spread has to look good. I mean, you got to have the right color teasers and your dredges. It's insane the level that it is, and it's probably why the White Marlin Open is as big as it is, because it's exciting, but it's just, there's so much has gone into it over the years that where we are today with technology, and it's borderline like NASA fishing. I mean, there's guys that have these $180,000 sonars that they can see underwater like a radar, so they can find and track marlin, and it's just technology where it's taken the sport, and like it or not, it's here. And if you have one of those sonars on your boat, you're a happy camper. If you don't, you might be a little bitter about it, but too bad. I mean, that's just how it is, the nature of it. The more money you have to put into your program, the more probably success you're going to have. So it's just pretty mind-boggling, really, when you think about how technical marlin fishing is.
And then it's evolved to that.
Yeah, and then you get the skill of the actual mates and your anglers. I mean, you get a crew of guys in the back of the boat that know how to hook fish on circle hooks, and know how to work a multiple hookup scenario on a turn. I mean, versus the guy that's just riding around with green machines out the back. It's night and day. So I mean, it's just like anything else. You get in what you get out of it, what you put into it, and the level is like the NFL now. I mean, it's like it's very professional.
So when you head out for White Marlin Open each day, does everyone on the boat have a task?
Yeah, I'd say yes. I mean, obviously my mates have a task. I'm the captain. I got to get us out there and back and find the fish, safely. And then my anglers know what they're doing, and they actually thankfully talk about it themselves, and they organize what they're going to do. But typically on my boat, I mean, I got 3 guys, and one guy will be running the long rigger, and the other 2 guys are cycling in, and then they're all anglers, so they're all going to reel fish in. So I mean, it's a well-oiled machine. Yeah. I like to say, but yeah, we're doing it the best we can.
Now,
we're doing good.
The marlin that you've caught and how to let go. When someone gets a marlin on a line, what happens on this boat?
Typically, we hook up. Somebody will get bit, and they'll drop back. I actually have a rod up on the bridge that gets quite a lot of action. So if I hook it up, I'll hand it down, or whoever is feeding the marlin, it comes tight, they'll get into position. They'll keep the rod tight, the line tight on the fish, and then we have to clear everything. I mean, typically we'll turn to whatever side of the boat the fish goes to, and we'll continue to fish that side, but we'll start clearing everything. And then once you get everything cleared, and you just say you just have the one fish on, then you just back to it, and that can be exciting. If the fish is kind of charging and greyhounding away from you, and you're jamming the throttles in reverse, and the waves are hitting the transom and splashing everyone. We had water knee deep in here yesterday, and this cooler was floating around, and in the back of my mind, I'm a little nervous because you don't want to sink. But
and this is your baby.
And it's not a 60-foot boat. I mean, it's just kind of like a little bit of water goes a long way. But and you're trying to get the leader into the rod tip, because that's what the tournament and the IGFA rules specify as a release. Now there's a couple things. The mate can grab the leader can go into the rod tip. But once those things happen, it's a release.
Okay.
So you don't have to actually grab the fish, take the hook out, and then let him go.
Yeah, okay.
You just get the technical release. So that's what you're doing. You're backing up to the fish. It's on the surface. It's doing its thing, and you just want to get within 30 feet of it so you can get that leader, and it's a caught fish.
Okay.
And that's what we do. You say caught fish, you pick up the radio, you call it in, boat 20, White Marlin release, 10:07. And then you, if it looks like it's going to be 70-inch plus fish, then you're just like, well, we got the fish. Now we got to get it in the boat, and that obviously gets real nervy when you got $1 million swimming around at the end of your line. So it's actually harder than you think. I mean, getting the leader part is not that difficult, but boating one can be. I mean, because you don't want to pull the hook, you don't want to break the leader. It's right there. You hear stories of, oh, it was right there. We had $1 million and it swam off, and you're like, I mean, it's tough. So getting it in the boat, you basically kind of want to tire it out, get a lot of the jumping out of it.
And that takes a while sometimes.
Yeah, it could be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but then you want to ride alongside of it, so you just have it swimming there, and you get it kind of closer to the boat and grab the bill and pull them in the boat and hit them with a tape measure and make sure you're good, and put them in your bag and head for the scales. I mean, that's sort of what everybody's dying to do.
So it's kind of like an adrenaline rush, but also you get a little nervous as the captain.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is completely. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do if we flop one in here at just 90 inches. I mean, you'll probably hear us from shore.
We'll hear you. We'll be on the scales. We'll hear you coming in. That's so funny.
So, I mean, it's everybody's dream that's in this tournament. I mean, is to pull one in the boat and just drop your jaw and be like,
we did it.
Like you're not even probably gonna have to measure it. You're just gonna be like, oh my God, this thing is a stud. We're heading for home.
Right.
But it's hard enough to catch a marlin. I mean, it's a big ocean out there, and there's not millions of them out there. So I mean, you throw in it having to be a certain parameter, and it gets even harder. And then when the class of fish that's in the area doesn't even come close to the minimum, it really makes it hard, because you're looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, you're looking for that one, right?
Yeah. So I mean, guys are catching them. I mean, we're catching. We've caught 6, but we need to catch however many more till we get the big one. So.
That's really exciting. What do you think, you're a local guy, and there's people from all over fishing in this tournament, and local people. What do you think it means for the community to have a local person fishing? Yeah,
you know what? I think it's because of the families connected to this boat, with all the guys that I have on the boat and their families and their kids and nephews, and I mean, people really follow it. And I get texts like, "Oh my God, we saw you on WBOC or WRDA." It's like outdoors-delmarva. I said, "Yeah, wow, I hadn't had a chance to stop and look at anything yet, because I've just been looking at charts and talking to people and trying to figure out my next day." But it's amazing. And when a local guy wins it, everyone
wins, right? In a way, it's exciting.
It's the biggest sporting event on Delmarva by like 100 miles. I mean, and obviously when you get a guy like Michael Jordan fishing there, the buzz about that. But aside from that, I mean, my buddy here, he's won it twice, and just millions of dollars each time, and you just people hear about it, and I think people really love to know about what's going on, especially like a big blue marlin or a big tuna hits the scales. It's exciting, and it's a sport, and it's got spectators, and people following it, and it's in our area, so I mean it's very unique. There's tournaments all over the world, but this is one of the biggest ones, and guys are in here from all over the world to try and win, and you're really going up against the best. And you know, if you were able to get lucky and catch one big one, and that's the good thing about this tournament is and why a small boat guy has a chance, because you're not trying to beat the best in the world at the skill game. You just want to have as much skill as you can and get lucky and catch the big one. I mean, you can't control the size of what bites your line, so everybody has a chance. I mean, everybody literally has a chance, and it's exciting because there's a lot of money on the line. I think $10 million, which is insane.
Yes, that is so crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. Thanks for being a local guy fishing in the tournament.
No problem.
We appreciate you.
Thanks for the
Good
job
luck.
you guys
Good
do.
luck tomorrow.
Love the show. Yeah, and hopefully we'll see you down there.
Yeah, we'll see you at the scales.
So, awesome.
Outdoors Delmarva, a Draper Media production, is presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.